I am your drunken chef. My name is Crystal Dudley, and I specialize in Jamaican cuisine. So pour you a glass of wine, get you a drink, let's cook together and have some fun. See you there. This is where we clean our meat. So first things first, let's observe the skin, make sure there's no feathers on there, cut off any extra fat or skin. I'll drop that in there. We're also gonna clean up any, I call it the yuck, under the bone of the thigh. We wanna clean that out. Because when people are eating our food, we want them to eat everything and enjoy everything and not be spitting out stuff. So we're gonna cut off any extra fat that we see. Now for the leg or the drumstick, we're gonna scrape off the yellow outer skin that we see on the joint of the drumstick. So if you're cooking with me for the first time, this is how I always clean my meat. This is how I prepare before I even wash it or put any seasoning on it. I clean off all the stuff, and you should want to do the same. So let's give this a good scrape right here. Looks messy, but this is how you clean your meat. For this thigh, the bone on the side was already cut off. So what I'm gonna do is give the skin a good scrape. And some people take the skin off their meat, that's fine. I like cooking with the skin. I think it holds the seasoning on the meat better, but that's just my preference. I like cooking with the skin, so I clean the skin. So we're gonna scrape this off. And put it with the rest of the meat. As you can see, this one has the bone on the side, so it has this red stuff that's underneath. Definitely want to clean that out. I hate when I go to a restaurant and I receive a thigh that has this underneath the bone. It tells me that they didn't clean the meat properly before cooking it. So we definitely want to clean our meat, get all the extra fat off. If you don't want to clean your skin, take the skin off. You can also purchase the meat that's already pre-cut and it's already cleaned. So all this stuff can be bought as is. Now I'm going to be cleaning out the sink. I'm gonna wash this out. Get this back from the butcher shop. And I'm gonna put all the little cuttings into this bag. Tie it up before I put it in my trash. Get this out the way. Now it's time to chop our meat. And the reason I put the slices in the drumsticks is because I want my seasoning to go all the way through the meat. For Jamaican style food, when we cook brown stewed chicken, in a lot of our stews, we cut the meat up. So here we go. Let's chop this up. The goal here is for you to be able to cook the same thing that you see me cook. For a lot of my customers where I am, I want you to be able to cook it so that it look and taste the same way. So we're going to chop this up small. I enjoy what I'm doing, and I hope you're enjoying it too. Now that we're finished chopping up our meat, I'm going to put these back in here, and we're going to give our meat a good wash. So of course I have a lot more meat than you'd probably normally have. I'm preparing for about 27 servings of meat. Let's get this on. And you always want to wash your meat with cold water. And of course, the good old vinegar. So I either use vinegar or I use lemon juice to wash my meat. Even if it's beef, I use the same to wash the meat. It takes the rawness away from the meat. And strain this water off. We're going to wash our meat a second time. This time, just plain water. Okay, now that we have everything all cut up or meat washed, I'm gonna wash my knife, my board, so I can get it out the way. And let's get ready to cut all our seasonings up. Okay, now that we have all that out the way, it's time to cut our seasonings up, all the fresh seasonings. So I have my tomato here, I have my onions. Gonna grab like 2 onions out of here. I also have a small piece of ginger and I have garlic. So right now what we're gonna do is cut up the fresh seasoning that will be going on our meat. Now that I cut the edge, I'm going to peel the outer layer off my onion. Put that in there. I always cut the edge off the onions. Peel the outer layers off. Now that we're finished doing that, I'm going to wash my onions in cold water. So give those a good wash. If you have trouble with onions burning your eyes, you can get a bowl with ice water and you can dip them in before you start slicing them up like this. And that will help you not cry from your onions. For me, I think I'm kind of used to it. I don't get that burn, but I do like to wash my food and my vegetables before I cut them in cold water. Definitely cold water before we slice these up. So remember, if you're cutting and you can't keep cutting your onion because you're crying, just get you a bowl with some ice, some water in it, and then put your onions in there to soak for a little bit. And it gives you the ease to cut your onions up. Now I've got a bowl so I can put my onions in. Organized kitchen is a clean kitchen, and I do like to keep my kitchen clean while I'm cooking. So we're gonna put these in here just to keep us organized. Wash this off a bit. Now I'm going to cut my ginger. Cut the little edges off. I already peeled it and I'm gonna mince this up. What I don't want to do is leave it as big chunks in the meat, because when you eat it, I don't want the ginger to be overpowering. I only want this to flavor the meat and also flavor the sauce that I am doing. I mince this up. The finer, the better, because then you'll just eat and you won't have an overpowering ginger taste while you're eating. I'm gonna put this over here. Now it's time to cut our garlic. I'm gonna smash this up. Why do we smash our garlic? I think it's tradition. This is something I see my mom do. We smash the garlic and then we peel the outer shells off. This does not take away from washing it. Absolutely not, but we are going to peel the outer shell off so we can get to our garlic. Give this a good wash and a little rinse. Then I'm gonna cut the edges off. I don't want those. Cut that off before I mince this up. And I'm going to mince this up as small as I did the ginger, because once again, I just want the flavor. I want it to cook out in the meat. I want it to cook out in the sauce. I want you to actually eat these things without having the overpowering taste of actually biting in to a garlic. I'm gonna put this over here. Rinse my hands off. Now it's time to cut our scallion. I'm gonna wash it off with some cold water first. Scallion, green onion, same thing. I'm going to cut the root off. And then I'm going to smash this up as well. I've been asked before, why do I smash up the scallion? Is it a Caribbean angry thing? And I said no. One thing I noticed with the scallion, when you smash it before you cut it to put it in a pot, the juice come out of it, so it's like the flavor is more prominent in what you're trying to make. And what I'm going to do is I want to serve the scallion in the food, so I'm going to mince this up as well. Because if you cut scallions just the long way and you cook with it, you just get the flavor, but it's not presentable to serve with the food. So since I want to serve everything, I want you to eat everything, I'm gonna mince this up as well so that nothing is overpowering. And I always wash my hands when moving to something different. Gonna move this out the way. Now for the exciting part of this all. It is time to flavor our meat. I'm gonna pour my scallion in. I'm gonna pour the garlic, the ginger, the onion, so pretty much all the fresh seasoning. And now is also time for the dry seasoning. So I'm gonna pour some garlic in here. And I'm not gonna keep with tradition. It says Jamaican season their food until their ancestors say, "That's enough, my child." That's just a joke. But just do enough to coat your meat. I'm going to use the thyme. Fresh thyme is preferred, but if you have dry thyme, that's fine. 1 cap is about a teaspoon. And then I have my Larry seasoning salt. And I'm gonna just pour enough to coat the meat as well. browning. So the browning is something I love using. Browning is something you always find in a Jamaican house. I'm using a 1/2 cup, and you can see how much browning I put in here. I'm gonna pour that. I think I'm gonna use some more. So I want to say this is about a little less than 1/2 cup of browning. But this is just for the amount of meat that I'm cooking. And this is what it looks like. So if you're cooking just for yourself, I would say only use the first amount that you saw that I use of the browning. And I'm rubbing this in, and I'm gonna rub this in, massage it in. Every piece of meat will have the same amount of seasoning all over it. Let's massage this in. This looks so good, and it's gonna taste so good. Yeah, let's rub this in. Rinse my hands off. And I'm going to show you what it looked like. So this is about, I want to say 16 servings of meat. And this is what our meat look like when it's all rubbed in. Hey y'all, this is your drunk chef checking in. It's been a minute, but I'm sipping, I'm cooking, and I just want to show y'all what's going on in my kitchen. It's the brown stew in the pot, getting brown. And over here, I have all the things prepped that I'll be putting inside of it. Now that I've added all the extra onions, green onions, we call it scallion, my thyme, my tomato, my potatoes, my carrots, everything that I want in my brown stew chicken is in there. And now I'm gonna add a little bit of water that came from the seasoning, and I seasoned the chicken. And we're just gonna leave that like that, and we're gonna let it stew. See you when it's done. It's your drunk chef checking back in, and that brown stew chicken is done. And I'm ready to show it to you. I know I said I'll show you what it looked like when it's done. Here it is. Look at that. Gravy, nice and thick. Scotch bonnet pepper, not bust, still intact. Smells delicious. Looks delicious, and I'm pretty sure it tastes delicious as well. Now that you've visited my kitchen, I hope you enjoyed the show. For more videos from your drunken chef, subscribe. Go ahead, subscribe.